just doing massive amounts of damage without a whole lot of investment on his part.
Just getting our next game set up. Nick, if you want to let everyone know how they can get a hold of us, give us feedback, and all that kind of good stuff.
Absolutely. So you can follow us on Twitter. You see our Twitters there. You can also follow SC2CTL. You'll find that on Twitter, Facebook, and they also have a Reddit sub. So you can check out all of those and leave us comments or feedback. If you are interested in playing, or I'm sorry, if you're playing and you're interested in getting casted, please let us know. And check out SC2CTL's website for information on future tournaments and the status of the current tournament. And big thanks to DOS Keyboard for being a major sponsor. They're giving away 5 keyboards to the winning team of the event.
Take a second here to wet my whistle. So we're going to be going into Game 3. It's going to be Pooh. He won the last game, so he knocks Rising Storm off his proverbial throne. So Pooh's going to get a second chance here to see what he can do. He's going to go up against Starcraft2Strategy's Coyote. These are both, the last game also we didn't mention, both Grandmaster players. Game 3 also going to be both Grandmaster players as well.
So we got a lot of high quality playing here.
So we're going to jump right into game number 3.
Game resumed.
With, in the top left corner, our green Protoss, the champion from last game. See if he can do it again. It's Pooh.
And in the bottom right, trying to avenge his Zerg fallen brother, it is Coyote.
A lot of PvZ tonight.
Yeah, it definitely is. Hopefully we'll see a wide variety of styles and strategies from these players. It looks like Pooh had some really great control and micro and just poking in and out in that last game, so we'll see if he tries to do a similar strategy this time.
Looks like we've got an in-base pylon from Pooh, so he's going to have that more cautious opening in mind. It looks like scouting right after. He wants to see what's going on right straight away. Also, while we're in the opening game here, watching probes and drones being produced, I want to just tell you to hit us up in chat and let us know what you think. Give us some feedback. Let us know what's good, what you would like to see change. We definitely take that feedback to heart. Also, go out, tweet about this, tell your friends, post about it on Twitter, Facebook, all those things. Let everyone know about the StarCraft 2 Community Team League. It's a really awesome place. Definitely some really actually high-end play, high-end teams. I mean, Complexity Academy, we last week before we went on vacation was Pulse Esports. They're really awesome. And Starcraft2Strategy, 3 really awesome teams we've featured so far.
Yeah, a lot of these players are right on the cusp of breaking out. You know, it wouldn't be surprising at all to see some of these players beating some of the big names in some open bracket tournaments that we'll see coming up. So keep an eye out for them.
It's like Coyote's going to want to come out and put down a base here, but Pooh is going to play a little ring around the rosy to try and delay him. That drone just think, get out of my spot. And Pooh decides to not make an issue of it. Pool's about half done, so he's going to do a pool expand. Looks like Pooh is going to be doing a 1 base, probably a 1 gate expand, similar to what a giant Smurf did the first game, is what it's looking like. Pooh keeping an eye on the 3rd base. He saw that 2nd go down, wants to make sure a 3rd, make sure he's aware of a 3rd if it does. No gas yet, so no early speed so far.
And Coyote does have an Overlord trouncing its way in there, just kind of, you know, slow and lumbering pace. He does see that there is not a natural. He's going to walk up that, or try and go into the main base to see if there's any tech that he can spot and not get chased away from a stalker.
Pylon going to be coming down at the natural entrance of Pooh. He's going to probably eventually start working and walling that off. 1 gate expand looks like the flavor of the day from Protoss. Stalker coming out after the Zealot. Chrono boosted, so looks like he's going to want to put on a little bit of pressure with this. Definitely a pretty strong play, as Zergs like to put a lot into the economy early game. If you can get a Zealot and a couple Stalkers chrono boosted out and just go push with those, you can force a lot of Lings, which would be drones otherwise.
Absolutely, and the Zerg definitely wants to be droning at this stage of the game. He wants to get that economic lead.
It's like Pooh's going to try and micro the Stalker around a little bit to try and catch these Lings. Catches 1, but 1 is going to make it up into his base and see what's up. He's going to see 1 Gateway, 1 Cybernetic Escort, not a whole lot. The Zergling doesn't quite make it around to the back, but there's nothing there to see. But he doesn't know that, so who knows what could be back there. He could be just about anything.
He does see some early gateway units, though, so he's going to put down a spine crawler to try and be ready for it. We do see 6 more lings in production.
Gas is being mined now. Hasn't quite hit 100, just hits 100. See if that speed goes down. Not quite yet. Looks like he's going to keep mining, so layer is probably in our future.
And Coyote micros those queens right to the base of his ramp to keep that zealot from heading in, and now we see lings coming forward to try and do some damage here. He does lose a queen in that, but he is able to save the majority of his economy.
Yeah, that one queen going down is kind of a big deal. Well, that was his creep queen, so all it's going to really slow down is his creep spread. He does still have his injects, but nice micro to definitely get those guys down there to block that ramp. Looks like Pooh is going to be satisfied with 1 queen kill and go home. Definitely the units lost is going to be in favor of the Protoss at the moment because 150 is generally higher than 100.
Coyote's moving his Overlord back in to see what kind of tech's going down. The Tickle Cannon is there to greet him.
That Tickle Cannon has quite the range. Look at that thing. It's just...
Yep. Stalker decides to come in and relieve.
The Overload, though, is going to see just about everything, but nothing too unstandard. It's another gateway coming down. Also, there was a Ling poking at the front. He took a while to put his cannon down, spending that money on probes and other structures. Forge completed, no upgrade coming down yet. Zergling speed is just about to finish. It's like there's a handful of Zerglings around the map. If we look at the units, there's a total of 5 Zerglings, 43 drones to 32 probes, so Coyote definitely has a bit of an economic advantage at the moment. Seeing a little bit of pressure, so he did a good job of not overreacting to make too many units.
Now we see him getting pretty nervous. He's just putting down 3 spine crawlers at his natural. He's just expecting some pressure at this point.
Yeah, the one downside, though, I mean, that queen kill is fairly a big deal because there's a large space here where there's no creep connected. You know, to keep his injects going, he's got to use that energy right up on his hatcheries to keep the injects going. Both of his queens at very low energy. Obviously, he's doing a very good job. A Grandmaster player, you know, you would expect he is. Hallucinated Phoenix coming through to see what he can see. Doesn't really see a whole lot. Doesn't even have a Roach Warren yet, but Lair is coming down. I wonder what he's going to be teching into here. 2 base, looks like it. I mean, I would expect a Roach Hydra push of some kind, since he hasn't really made too much effort towards taking a 3rd yet.
It's possible we may see a similar play to last time where we see Ling Hydra, although it looks like he's putting down an infestation pit, so are we going to see Swarm Hosts here, or Ling Infestor maybe?
Hosts! Looks like we've got a sentry having a little dance party at the wall of Mr. Pooh. Now receiving orders to move out and be intercepted by a Ling, so Coyote's going to know that Pooh's moving around a little bit. As the Overseer does move in to see what it can see, having a sense that Pooh's moving out, he's going to get confirmation of that.
Coyote does find the probe that was putting down a pylon to help support this army. He does take out the probe, and now more Lings are running in to try and kill that pylon off. Meanwhile, Pooh's army is walking forward, trying to intercept those Lings.
Coyote did have those Lings on a really good scout path to find any proxy pylons. He does have one up in the 3 o'clock position that's continues to run around to make sure no proxies on it. It is going to be Swarm Hosts, as Enduring Locusts is researching and Swarm Hosts are in production, so this is going to be a cool play.
You see Nidus Worm coming out too, but there's not a lot of units on the map. He's going to have a hard time holding this push.
There's also not going to be any detection for Pooh. There is a Changeling in his base. No Robo, no Stargate. So the only detection is going to be cannon, so this Swarm Host could be a challenge for him if he does not get some kind of detection up to be able to deal with this. Also, he's going to need Colossus right away. But Coyote definitely paying some homage to Stefano, who retired today, doing the ultra turtly siege type style. The Swarm Hosts are going to obviously be camping out behind this row of spine crawlers here, and I suspect he'll be moving them out.
It looks like he's going to go in for an ambush with this. He's got the Nidus Worm being loaded up, and he is putting it down at the 3rd base of Pooh.
Oh no, Pooh is moving out too. All of his units are continuing moving farther away from his base. He's not sure what's going to happen. Looks like he's going to be attempting to make an assault here right as this Nidus
Coyote
pops.
sees that coming, and he unloads his Nidus Worm, burrowing all those Swarm Hosts, getting a volley of Locusts out and backing them up. Looks like
not going to be able to make any progress or headway into this with all those spine crawlers there and those locusts. Looks like Coyote, realizing this, is moving the queens and swarm hosts out to Pooh's third. Going to be sieging up. Oh, get them burrowed. Those stalkers get out of dodge real quick as they see those swarm hosts burrowing.
Pooh is panicking. He's running back. He realizes that this is a big push on his front. He needs to get his army there. Those force fields going down, trying to keep the locusts doing minimal damage.
It's kind of funny how those locusts are just piling into the back there.
Yeah, they're just kind of lemming around up there, all just waiting in line for their turn to shoot.
Enduring Locust is completed, so these locusts are going to have quite the range as Pooh is now just coming back. Looks like he's going to try and sweep around the back side of this, but he still doesn't have any detection with him, so he's going to maybe be able to do a little bit of damage to these queens, but not any to the swarm house.
And now we see spore crawlers coming down to try and take out any detection that does come out.
Observer now in production being chrono boosted from Pooh, but it's going to be a little bit too late. It looks like these swarm hosts are continuing their assault at the front. Sentry force fielding them out, but the sentry, alas, gives way to the...
But a blink forward, it's going to target down that Nidus Worm, so there will be no escape, no reinforcements.
Second Nidus Worm going down to provide a way out. Nice transfuses from those queens.
Look at those force fields, and those swarm hosts are just getting obliterated.
Again, more transfuses. 2 transfuses on that one to save that. Nidus Worm pops. Is he going to be able to get out? It doesn't look like it. Pooh doing a great job of holding this out. I'm really impressed.
Pooh has positioned his observers in really brilliant spots, really knowing the range that those spore crawlers can hit and where you can position them to still get vision but not take damage. And that all gets cleaned up.
Nice work with only stalkers and observers. Generally, the Colossus is going to be a little bit more important to that, but Pooh just did a great job of reconvening back at his base, getting observers out. I was really worried there for a while just because he didn't have these observers. It looks like Lings are going to get into his main. No units anywhere nearby. Chrono boosting probes out. He's going to be doing some heavy probe damage here. A single Zealot trying to hold it off. Looks like he's going to get 2 to 3 Ling kills. Those Lings are going to finally take it out.
The Pooh stalkers are rushing down the center of the map. They are going to run headlong into a lot more locusts that just spawned. 2 stalkers fall to 3 units and they blink out.
It looked like Pooh was paying a little bit of attention to his base as it's under siege. 1 Zergling left. The Zealot does appear to be attacking his own gateway as he's taken out most of the shields there.
Coyote's got a random swarm host just walking to say hi to those stalkers. That's going to go down.
He did get the base canceled, so he's going to get a refund on that, but it does have an observer. Nice blink up.
Blink right into the main.
That's the biggest downside of swarm hosts, is they are terribly immobile, so blink stalkers are a great way to avoid them. Now he's going to be doing a little bit of damage and blinking right back out. Keep Coyote on his toes. Another Nidus Worm coming down out at the 1 o'clock-ish position. Looks like he's going to be trying to do that siege up again, but from a farther away location. Mothership Core was near it, but I don't think it saw it. It did see the Nidus Worm coming down, so Pooh is definitely aware of where that is. The Mothership Core barely saw it out of the corner of her little eye. Pooh does have a 30 down. That's down on the lower left side as he feels obviously Coyote pushing up.
Thought that he was going to expand to where his previous push was at the 12 o'clock location, but Pooh is just deciding, you know what, I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to expand down if you're going to try and attack up.
Pooh is obviously seeing these locusts come in now with the well-placed observer just outside that 12 o'clock expansion. He's going to be moving over to where he suspects the swarm hosts are, which is right over by the Nidus that he saw with the Mothership Core, so no secret there. Third base going down for Coyote as this is happening. Nidus Worm goes down. Doesn't have that observer close enough, but he's going to bring it over to kill this one swarm host. But run around the Lings going into the third base.
They're going to be doing some big damage. The Zealots are warping in to clean all that up. And this is a rough position for Zerg to be in right now. He's not able to get a third base down, whereas Pooh has 3 bases down. They are mining. They are happy. And his stalkers are kind of walking around the map, cleaning up expensive units. So this is not really going in Coyote's favor at the moment. Let's see if he's able to turn it around.
Mutalisk on the map now, heading for the main of Pooh. Pooh is a bit unprepared for this as Colossus are going down. He warps in 2 stalkers to try and deal with it, but the Mutalisks are going to heavily weaken 1 before it even finishes warping. Those are not going to be able to do a lot for him. So it does a nice recall back to his mainless.
In the meantime, Lings are running into that third to try and do some more economic damage. There's one Zealot there to greet him, but it's going to go down. But oh, wow, look at that. More army coming back in to reinforce that, so those Lings aren't going to be able to get a whole lot done.
Sort of a bad position for Pooh on that ramp, as he wasn't able to get all his units in there, but the Lings get the nice round, the Mutas come in.
Army. And those Mutas are doing a lot of damage to those Stalkers, but enough of them warp in to chase them away, and those Lings did get cleaned up, so he's going to go try and do some more economic damage, and the Stalkers are there to greet him. There is a Colossus there, but Coyote doesn't even want to bother with it.
Pooh's doing a nice job of defending this. I was really worried about him for a while there when those Swarm Hosts were coming out, and he didn't really seem to have a lot to do with it, but he got Blink at that point, and that's really serving him well now against these Mutas, as they really weren't able to do a ton of damage. Putting down a pylon over here, the Mutas are going to see it, likely take that out, but it seems like slowly Pooh is getting a better and better handle on this game that seemed to be slipping away from him there for a while.
Well, he just had that great defense, you know, really bringing those observers in, bringing them in against those Swarm Hosts in just the right position. Coyote felt comfortable that he had gotten his Spore Crawlers out, and all those Queens there thought he was A-okay to defend it, but the Blink Stalkers really cleaned that up, and now we see the Mutas blinking right underneath the Mutas, and he's going to lose a few of those. He's running by the natural, more Blinks in. He gets a few probe kills before having to move on, but he's losing more Mutas. That Muta count is dropping drastically.
The big difference here, too, is that Pooh has 2 attack upgrades, and Coyote has no upgrades of any kind. 0-0 on the ground and 0-0 in the air. Swarm Hosts are going to be trundling back towards the now eventual 4th base, but it seems like the big thing has been that Pooh has actually stayed ahead of Coyote on bases, and I think it's because of the transitions that Coyote has made. I mean, he went into the Swarm Host first, then to the Muta. I mean, those are expensive tech transitions that you can't really invest a lot in upgrade-wise.
Absolutely. And we do see that the first third expansion for Coyote is going to fall. He was able to get most of those drones out by putting them into a Nidus Worm, and he's going to unload them somewhere else.
Pooh now slipping into his mid to late game comfortableness now, as Coyote's starting to put down all the expansions, and we start to see the swarms of Zealots heading out. Looks like these Lings are going to clean these up, but you can definitely see that phase of the game where Pooh starts to feel really comfortable, starts to harass all the expansions, really denies them all. Another base denied. So effectively Coyote's on 2 bases now to Pooh's 3, and he could easily take more bases if he wanted to, but he's also spending his money really well. It's keeping his money way down.
Yeah, these Swarm Hosts, while in theory are great, Pooh has Coyote's number at this point. He knows exactly how to deal with those, and he's not even going to bother engaging. He's just going to take out what he can.
The supplies are fairly equal here, but Pooh just exercising great dominance over Coyote at the moment, and it comes down a lot to those upgrades. I mean, this Colossus and Stalkers, especially with 2 attack upgrades to 0 for the Zerg, is just really gonna...
We do see a swift switch into Roach Corruptor, and he's just gonna recall out of there, realizing that that was a huge army swell and that he didn't want to risk all those units.
Pooh definitely also trading very well. If we go to units lost, it's effectively equal at this stage of the game. It's about 1,000 in the advantage of Pooh, but you know, Pooh can afford to lose a little bit too, and he's ahead.
Yeah, Coyote trying some more Ling run-bys, but there's just too many cannons there. Not going to get much of anything done.
Coyote did have a bank of over 1,000 here a few minutes ago, but he spent most of that down. Looks like he is now getting some upgrades finally. Looks like ground armor and melee attack upgrades, as well as roach speed. So
you gotta wonder if that's too little too late. Although Protoss doesn't really have that huge of an upgrade advantage. He does have +2 on ground weapons.
He's had +2 for a while.
Yeah. Roaches are coming in, cleaning up those cannons, going to try and do some big damage to this base. But Pooh is recalling in, and oh my goodness, look at those Roaches fall.
Yeah, that's where the advantage of the upgrades come, is that 2 attack to 0 armor against those Roaches. The Colossus just melt them right down. Phoenix
are now moving in. Oh my goodness, they are doing lots of damage to Overlords.
However, the Corruptors are going to shoo the Phoenix away, but Pooh is going to be undeterred from continuing his assault on the expansion and not allowing Coyote to get one up ever.
Oh,
third
Two
and
swarm
fourth
hosts
base
go
attempting
down.
to go down right now. It doesn't look like it's going to make it.
Vipers and Corruptors come in to try and help out with this, but there's just too many Stalkers, too many everything, and that's the GG for Coyote.
GG indeed. Pooh is just looking really, really good. I mean, I think both games that we've seen him in now, early game seemed a little uncomfortable. Mid game has seemed, especially when those swarm hosts came out, I was like, oh my gosh, he's so screwed because he doesn't have anything to deal with this. But he had excellent control. Blink Stalkers were a really good choice. I mean, he used them well. I mean, knowing that he didn't have Colossus, which is the obvious thing you would want, he used them really well to evade the Swarm Host and force Coyote to pull them back to his base to defend against his blink ins and blink outs. So that was a really good delay tactic to be able to get the Colossus up.
Absolutely. I really think that the turning point of that game was that push that Coyote was trying to assault on Pooh, where he was sitting in the natural third and trying to just siege up there. He had a ton of swarm hosts, he had a ton of queens, he was putting down spores, he thought he was really safe, feeling really good. And then those observers come out, he positions them beautifully, he blinks in while the locusts are away. There's nothing really there to defend against it. There's like 6 queens, but everything falls. Great force fields. They really target down that Nidus quickly so that he can't get out of there. And I think after that, Coyote was just visibly shaken. He didn't really know what to do at that point. And at that point, he was playing on the back lane.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the game seemed so even for so long. It just seemed like Coyote couldn't make up his mind as to what to push out, and I think that really delayed his upgrades so much. First going with Swarm House, okay, that didn't work out. Let me switch to Mutas. Getting Mutas out, not upgrading really either of them, and both not really doing any significant damage. So that allowed Pooh to really get back in the game, I think.
And Pooh, once again, having great micro, doing some great harassment on the bases, making sure that he had the economic advantage. Just really kind of took control of that game and didn't let it go.